Well, hello and welcome to the Terry Cole Show. I am Terry Cole, as you might have guessed by now, and today I'm going to be talking to a very particular part of my audience, which are my empaths, which are my highly sensitive people, which you may not even know that you are, which are my codependents. Because right now, we're in a situation that being highly sensitive, you might need some help establishing boundaries in your life. So this is a special episode of the Terry Cole Show that is called The New Pandemic Boundary Rules for Empaths, Codependents, and Highly Sensitive People. So welcome to the show. I'm giving you a downloadable guide at the end, so don't worry. You don't have to take notes. Just listen and let me know if this is you, because we are all in a new world right now. We are dealing with being quarantined, many of you across the world, and I am as well. And so that changes the way that we interact. And it also changes what kind of boundaries we may need, especially if we're very dialed into the feelings of the other people around us, or if we're very dialed into the collective space, like most highly sensitive people are. So if you're unsure, if you are a highly sensitive person or an empath, do you always have your friends? Do they always call you? Does someone always have some drama and they find you and you sort of dread picking up the phone because you know you're going to be exhausted at the end of that phone call, that literally all of your energy is going to be out of you? Or do you have just random strangers? This has basically been the story of my life, just people everywhere and anywhere finding me and wanting to tell me their deepest, darkest, whatever it is. And when they're done, they're like, wow, I don't even know you. I don't even know why I did that. Now, you would think maybe I would stop them, and sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. I'm better now, but I'm actually, as an empath, I'm quite interested in other people and what they have to say, but I was only able to have that be a choice once I knew how to protect my energy, how to not take on the energy of the other people. And if you're not well aware of being an empath or a highly sensitive person or being a codependent, you may not even understand why you're exhausted all the time. Not just during a pandemic, but all the time. You might be very drained. And I found out in my younger life, in my 20s, that part of why I was so exhausted is that I was an empath and highly sensitive to my surroundings. Light, sound, smell, everything. But I wasn't doing anything to have it be the way I needed it to be. I just thought, well, this is life. I work in this place and the lights are really bright and horrendous and I hate them, but that's how it is. Until I started becoming more empowered in really controlling my own environment, which we will be talking about as well. But think about it this way. The empaths were kind of like the psychic sponges of the world. And when it comes to boundaries, it's like other people can be clear, at least about where they end and the other person begins, let's say. So people who are not empaths or highly sensitive, they're pretty clear, like, this is me, and all of that other stuff out there is not me. That's something else. When you're an empath and you feel the feelings of other people, it's really confusing about what is me and what is someone else. Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? And the more skills you become at discerning your own feelings from the feelings of others, and then when you really get into it and really understand the power of being an empath or a highly sensitive person, I feel like codependency is sort of a lot of times, it's just like a side effect of being an empath or highly sensitive, because we don't know that we can draw boundaries with other people. I mean, that's one group of people who are codependent. It's definitely a byproduct of being empaths and highly sensitive people. And then there's a whole other group of people who are codependent that has everything to do with the way that they were raised, the family system they grew up in. But I'm really talking about those of you who are really dialed in to the feeling states, the emotions of other people, and what is going on with them and how that impacts you. So let's talk about what you can do, especially now. So I'm going to talk in general, and then I'm going to talk specifics about if you are confined, as many people are quarantined right now, to a smaller space with family, with friends, with other people. How can you create very impactful boundaries to protect your energy, but also to protect the harmony within a small space? So the first thing is you got to really get into, are you understanding, are you an empath? Are these things affecting you? Does this, the highly sensitive people in particular, lights, sounds, smells, other people's energy. You don't like being in crowds. So I did a whole episode on this. There's questions, so we'll link that in the show notes so that you know what you're doing. If you're unsure, that's how you can be sure if you are a highly sensitive person or an empath. I feel like many of you listening know you are. And that's great to understand you are. How are you managing this? Do you know how to protect yourself? So you have to know what you need. That's going to be the first step in this process, is really getting clear about what are you feeling resentful about right now in your immediate situation. You can do your bigger situation too, because we're not going to be quarantined forever. But think about situations where are you feeling resentment? So write a list. This is how you got to know what you need. You got to know what's getting on your nerves, because where you're feeling resentful, unheard, unseen, hurt, upset, this is usually a place that a boundary has been crossed or a need has not been met. And so that's a way to sort of back into understanding what you need. So the first thing is you're going to make a list of situations and circumstances where you're feeling resentful right now. The second thing that I want you to do is create a sacred space in your home, your apartment. If you're somewhere and you don't have a lot of space because there's other people there, I'm going to ask you to just, if you have a candle, one little candle, because the sacred space, there's a psychological aspect to doing this that is really beneficial, really helpful. Even if you just have a little candle that you light when you do morning meditation, morning breathing, do you write? If you're an empath, a highly sensitive person, codependent, doing morning pages that most of us learned decades ago in the artist way is a beautiful way of clearing your mind to start the day with a fresh. And that's basically writing, and don't worry, we'll include this in the notes. It'll be in your guide, but writing 3 uninterrupted pages of just mind dump, because we've got a lot going on right now, and it's really good to clear the cobwebs from what you're experiencing. Every morning, you're starting fresh. So that's why we're creating a sacred space. You're going to be doing these other practices in that sacred space, even if it's just the bathroom. Just bring a pillow and sit in the bathtub and lock the door and light a candle if you need to get away from people. But having sacred time in the morning is an amazing way to calibrate your day, whether we're in a pandemic or not, so that you're starting in a good place. Another thing that's really important for you is knowing how to clean and clear your energy. So energy work. So I'm going to give you something from one of my besties, Lara Riggio, who is an energy expert, basically. So for you to be able to zip up your energy, which is, it's not cutting you off from other people. It's basically, the way Lara describes it, is that when you do this zip up every day, so it'll be like a daily thing that you do in the morning when you're going to be doing your healthy things. It's basically people who think that you have what they need, right? We're unconsciously communicating all the time with people. So the energy vampires who find their way to you, if you're taking good care of your energy and you're zipping up your energy, they won't be able to sort of see you as this bright light that you are. So you're basically sending a message like, I don't have what you need. Because the truth is, those people, only they have what they need. But we can be very seductive targets for people who are seeking our light. If you are an empath or a highly sensitive person, you know, what do I say about love, right? The cracked pot finds its way to the cracked lid. This is the same exact thing. That if you're not protecting your bright light, that people who are seeking light will find you. But it doesn't help either one of you, right? Because you don't have the answers for them. Your energy can't sustain someone else forever, but it can make you feel like you have an autoimmune disorder or can make you exhausted. So energy work, learning ways to clear and protect your own energy. So I'll also give you a recipe for what I call witch's brew, which is a way to, it's Epsom salt and some other things that you add to a tub if you have a bathtub that can really help clear your energy. So you've got your sacred space. You got to know what you need, what's not happening for you, what's creating anxiety or anger for you. You're going to do your energy work. You're going to learn how to clear your energy. You're going to create that sacred space for yourself. And then let's talk about how to actually draw boundaries with the other people in your space or in your life, because many of us are still dealing with, we're just working from home. We're still doing things. So this last piece is very important, and I'm going to do it in 2 steps. The first one is that if you're in a living situation, even if you only create temporary rules of engagement, you need to have rules of engagement. So I'm going to ask you to create a do not disturb sign. There's ways that we can communicate with the people that we're living with, that even if you have kids, if you're working, if you're on a call, you need to teach them when this sign is up, then whatever you got going on needs to wait. Hopefully there's another adult in the home. If it's an emergency, maybe it can't wait, but there's ways that you can at least try to protect your actual physical space when you have other things that you need to be doing. So the things I suggest is rules of engagement. How are we engaging? Meaning, how are we getting all the things done that need to happen while we're all stuck in this house? So maybe you do everything. You know what? Maybe you should stop doing everything. If you're the person who does all the invisible stuff, all the emotional labor, and all the real labor, just stop doing that. It doesn't work. Now's a good time while everyone's together to give other people chores and things that they need to do so that you're not doing it all. But the rules of engagement also have to do with respecting the privacy and the personal space of the other people in the space. So, you can say people can take showers, but they can only last this long if you're worried about someone using that as their sacred space, right? Where, other people need to get in there. Not just walking into anyone's bedroom, right? Your rules of engagement so that you feel protected yourself. Giving everyone the right to use a do not disturb sign. And that really means don't come back for a period of time, or you can write on it. I had one when I was living with people that was like, do not disturb until after 4 p.m. So people knew I was doing something. Please don't. Part of the reason to do this and to sort of, we're trying to institutionalize some rules of respectful boundary engagement is so that you don't have to use all of this energy to set and reset every single boundary while you're quarantined. So if we can all get on the same page of like, all right, what is it going to look like? Let's actually talk about it. And the things that need to be talked about, because when you're writing that list of who's driving you crazy and what's driving you crazy, a lot of it right now, if you're quarantined, is going to be about the people you're living with. So use that to help set up your rules of engagement. And the other one, so there were 2 about the boundaries, actually creating boundaries, is that whether you're quarantined or not, if you're an empath, a highly sensitive person, or a codependent, saying no can be very hard for you. So I'm going to give you some language in your guide of how to easily say no. And the first step is to stop the auto yes. Realizing you have the right to say no to things is major if you're a codependent, an empath, or a highly sensitive person, because we feel the other's urgency like it's our own. And that's part of the problem, because it isn't our own. So buying yourself time and being able to say no, like, thank you, I'll have to check my calendar. Super easy. I'll need to sleep on that. I've implemented a 24-hour decision-making rule. I like that one. People are like, okay, you're weird. I'm like, I don't care. I'm just not saying yes to your thing because I don't want to do that thing, whatever it is. And you can also say, I need to check with whether it's your partner, your sister, whoever, to see if we're free that day. I'll need to get back to you on that. But I love that you're thinking about me. Thank you, or thank you for thinking of me. So there's plenty of ways that you can buy time. And then let's move into, how do you actually just say no? I'll need to decline your offer right now, right? In order to honor what is going on within my family. I mean, listen, coronavirus has given a lot of us a lot of good reasons to say no to things because we are quarantined. But there are also virtual things, and people can still be taking your time or demanding your time or asking for your time in a way that you don't want to give, but you don't know how to say no. So that's really what I want you to use these scripts for, because everything that you're doing that you don't want to be doing or that leaves you exhausted is bad for you, bad for your family, bad for the people you live with. It's also bad for that relationship because it's a dysfunctional exchange of energy, right? You are not someone's receptacle for their negativity, their fear, their freak out. You don't have to be. And really putting your own mask on first in these pandemic times is absolutely mandatory if you're going to stay sane and if you're actually going to bring anything valuable to other people. When we do it with resentment, right? When we do it because we don't know how to say no, that is being unempowered. Straight up. That is being unempowered because you're not being honest. You're not doing it from love. You're doing it from fear of saying no. And I think making that distinction and getting real with yourself is really important. If someone says, we're doing this virtual thing on Sunday and I would love for you to help with the production or whatever, you can say, you know what, I actually don't work on Sundays because that's my family time. But thank you for thinking of me. I wish you guys luck. Like, knowing that just because someone asks doesn't mean you need to do it. And if somebody, because these people are very manipulative, like I find that being an empath, a highly sensitive person, a codependent, we attract the predators a lot. And they know, they feel that soft heart, that sort of lover that you are, and will exploit the crap out of it if you allow them. So don't. You don't owe anyone an immediate answer. People who are manipulative will be like, well, listen, it's a great deal and I think you should do it and I need an answer by 3 o'clock today. Someone says that to me, I say, if you need an answer by 3 o'clock today, then my answer is no. Because I need more than 5 hours to make that kind of decision. So, but also, I can tell you right now, somebody pressuring me like that in that way, I see through you. My answer is no because you're a friggin' creep. That's why my answer is no. My answer is no because you're creating a dramatic, traumatic situation so you can pressure me to get the answer you want. Log off is what I say to that. So we want to be very mindful. And when you start drawing boundaries, see the way people respond. You will learn so much about someone. If you are not the 24/7 receptacle for their negativity, for their hysteria, for their emergencies, and you start turning off your phone and drawing appropriate boundaries for yourself, those people will start losing their minds. You'll see. And the bottom line is you can hold the line, hold your boundary, and see, sometimes people just flip out in the beginning and then come around to the boundary. But the reality is that's not your problem. How someone responds to your boundary, that's their side of the street. Drawing your boundary is your side of the street. So, I hope that this episode was helpful to you. I hope that it added value. I hope that you love the guide. There's tons of resources in there for you, because now is a really good time to figure out how to turn your sensitive nature into your badass superpower. And you can only do that by drawing appropriate boundaries, by knowing how to protect your energy, by understanding that this is a gift. Because if you don't manage it, it manages the crap out of you and it feels like a curse. So I don't want that for you, because we all need your bright and beautiful light in the world right about now. So please, you guys, share this on your social media platforms, because hopefully we can reach lots and lots of people who might be in pain right now, who might be suffering, who might feel isolated, which I do not want that for any of you. I've also thrown in a meditation in your guide for you, because I do want you to be getting your stillness and silence on, because that will help. So as always, 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 and more than ever, take care of you.